Just before this episode gets started, I do want to clarify. This was recorded right after LeBron had joined LA and before DeMarcus had joined Golden State. So there's going to be a bit of misinformation here about DeMarcus Cousins and Julius Randle. Those are the most important things to consider. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 3 of the Trash Talk podcast. My name is Eamon. I'm here to discuss LeBron's move to LA and how it changes the landscape of the NBA. But more importantly, I'm here to tell you why your team's garbage and won't ever make the finals ever again. So I've got a handful of things to cover. As of now, LeBron has just penned a 4-year, $154 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. With this in mind, there's 5 things we're going to consider. Number 1, what other player, if any, is going to be joining LeBron in LA outside of Kawhi Leonard? Number 2, what trades is Magic Johnson willing to make to acquire Kawhi Leonard? And will the Spurs deal Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers at all? Number 3, what Laker players are part of the future of the Lakers? Number 4, what's happening to Julius Randle? And number 5, what does this mean for the landscape of the NBA? Let's get stuck in with number 1. What other player is going to join LeBron in LA outside of Kawhi Leonard, if any? I think the prime target for the Lakers is DeMarcus Cousins. He definitely will be seeking a max contract in spite of his Achilles injury. I think the Lakers will want to offer a short 2-year max contract, this according to Kevin O'Connor, to DeMarcus in case his injury condition is too severe to allow him to return to his former capability. The Lakers will need to stretch Luol Deng's salary over 5 years if they want to sign DeMarcus alongside LeBron. But I think Boogie will make the Pelicans his prime target. That's what Woj thinks as well this offseason. But we're unsure as to whether they will offer him a max deal, especially with the players they've got at the moment. I think the Lakers are going to struggle to clear enough room for DeMarcus. They've just picked up 3 free agents. They got Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They're committing roughly $19 million this year to those 3 free agents. The cap is still $120 million, and the Lakers currently have $28 million in cap room for another player. I think DeMarcus is going to want more. The Lakers need to clear room for DeMarcus, which means they're going to be losing some young players to convince a team to take the Deng contract, assuming they don't stretch it over the next few years. Second target for the Lakers will be Tyreke Evans. I don't think Tyreek's going to get picked up by Memphis because they'll want more space for Jaren Jackson Jr. And I think Tyreke will be wanting more than the Grizzlies are willing to pay. I saw on Reddit that Tyreke has expressed interest to play with the Lakers. I'm not exactly sure on who the source for that was. But if it's on Reddit, then it must be true. I don't think he's going to need a long deal. I think he'd be willing to take a 2-year deal. You're looking at somewhere in the $12 to $18 million range. I'm not exactly sure yet. But I think that'd be a suitable deal for Tyreke Evans, considering he's had, in the past, some dodgy seasons. He's had a resurgence here on the Grizzlies this year. He's played like a good 6-man. So a 2-year, $12 to $18 million deal will probably be a good range for Tyreke Evans. The Lakers are not going to need to clear any more cap space to sign him. They could sign him outright. And I think he's a perfect partner to LeBron. He'd have been the 3rd best player on the Cavs last year behind LeBron and Kevin Love. He can play make, he can defend, he's a scorer. He's a bit like Gordon Hayward. He kind of fulfills the same role as Gordon Hayward. There's not really a number 1 option, even though Hayward was in Utah, but that didn't really get them very far outside the second round. So he fulfills the same role as Hayward, and I think Hayward can play next to anybody. And likewise, I think Tyreke Evans should be able to play next to anybody. Now, the third target for the Lakers, it should be a center. The problem is, there's not many free agent centers available on the market right now. DeAndre Jordan just locked himself into Dallas. Julius Randle wants out of Los Angeles. DeMarcus is not going to be affordable. There are no centers who are worth the money on the market currently. That's a problem for LA. The center position is extremely weak this offseason. I think the Lakers know that they're not going to win the chip this season. And so my theory is that the Lakers should not pursue a center with any serious offers this offseason. I think the players that I mentioned above are the only players the Lakers should pursue very seriously, but I don't think there's a very good chance they're going to get either of them, being DeMarcus and Julius Randle. There is plenty of 1-year deal players they should consider. I think that would work better because you'd be able to use them as trade assets. As everyone knows, LeBron boosts the value of his teammates by making them playmakers, making them seem better than they are. That's how he's carried to the Cavs so far, and that's how we got J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Tristan Thompson, the contracts that they did. After 2019, and during 2019, there's going to be some free agent centers The Lakers will have a lot more cap space. I think that's the go time for the Lakers. 2019 offseason, they should be going for their franchise center. Brook Lopez is still available. I don't think Brook Lopez is the answer for the Lakers. He only averaged 5 rebounds a game. That's, for a 7-footer, that's really bad, considering he was the starting center for a lot of the season. Him in and out with Julius Randle. That's really not good. He does a lot of the fundamentals well, but as a franchise center, that's not going to get you to beat Golden State. So anyway, those are the free agents that I think the Lakers should be considering this offseason. Let's move on to point number 2 about LeBron's move. What trades is Magic Johnson willing to deal for Kawhi Leonard? And will the Spurs deal Kawhi to the Lakers at all? Let me say this. The Spurs have lost lots of influence with LeBron's move. LeBron has swung the pendulum heavy into the Lakers' favor with his signing. TikTok, San Antonio, come on, guys. It's got to happen. San Antonio has to deal Kawhi Leonard by the trade deadline, and the longer they wait, the lower his value goes. I think the Kawhi situation is definitely irreparable at this point. It doesn't really seem like any way Kawhi is going to be staying past the 2019 season. I think Magic has, and should have, blocked any offers for Kawhi Leonard, which include Kyle Kuzma, because, in my opinion, he is, and should be, the most untouchable player in the young core on the Lakers right now. Kuzma is currently the best young player on the Lakers, and is the most likely to provide immediate return. In my opinion, this is what the Lakers should offer for Kawhi Leonard. Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, to 2019 and the 2020 first round pick. I think Kawhi's worth that. It sounds like Kawhi wants to play in LA. He'd be willing to sign a long-term deal if the Lakers play really well this season. It's worth that. If you knock off Golden State in his first year there, it's a guarantee that he'd sign a long-term deal in the 2019 offseason. You'd keep Kuzma and you'd have space for one-year contracts. If you don't knock off Golden State, it doesn't matter. I don't think those 3 players are worth keeping if you lose the chance to get Kawhi if he gets traded to somebody like Boston or Philadelphia. You want to snag him as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's a great way of doing it. Young players and picks. If he goes east, that's a big problem. With that said, however, I don't think Magic's going to offer that much. They'll be more inclined to keep the younger players, especially Ingram and Kuzma. It sounds to me like Josh Hart and Lonzo Ball are expendable and up for trade. I think the picks are certainly on the table. I don't know if the Lakers would like offering so many pieces for one player, though, so that might be a bit of a spanner in the works. Excuse me. So, with that said, what is the future of the Lakers' young core? Let's move on to point number 3. Who's part of the Lakers' long-term plan? We've got a few players here to consider. Number 1, Kyle Kuzma. He's definitely part of the Lakers' long-term plan. Kuzma is untouchable in trades, and it seems like the Lakers intend to make Kuzma their biggest and most valuable franchise drafted player. He's showtime. He's an efficient scorer. He's the perfect player of this new generation of the NBA. He's a big, skilled, shooting wing. What more could you want? Kuzma's the number 1 most valuable player on the Lakers other than LeBron right now. Number 2, Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is overrated and should be traded on potential right now before people start to realize that he won't be what the Lakers want him to be. There, I said it. I said it, yep. Sorry. It sounds like there's a good chance he's part of the Lakers' future plans, though. If they keep him, I wouldn't be mad. I'd love for him to prove me wrong and make me sound like an idiot, because I love it when young players flourish for the team that drafted them. But as of right now, I don't think Ingram is part of any current trade plans for the Lakers. Number 3, Josh Hart. Great little young player. I think he's the kind of player that will be a solid trade piece for his whole career. He's got starter potential, and it looks like he's got guts. He could play on a championship team and contribute in limited minutes in his prime, in my opinion. I don't think he'll be a starter on a championship team, but he's a Fred VanVleet, a 13-14 Jason Terry, a Terry Rozier. It looks to me like he's expendable in the eyes of the Lakers. I wouldn't put money on him being a Laker by the end of LeBron's contract. I will say that. Now, number 4. Big ball sack Lonzo Ball. Sounds to me like he's arguably the most expendable piece of the young Lakers core. I personally expect him to be the best or the second best out of the group by the end of the career. But LeVar's a fucking headache and no team wants to deal with him. He's a horrible attachment to any team and he should be avoided at all costs. At Lonzo's current level, I don't think he's worth it to a team who cannot handle LeVar. I expect Lonzo to progress nicely. I think he'll find his rhythm. He'll be a great little player. But LeVar's just a pain in the ass, and a lot of teams are not going to want to deal with that. It sounds like the Lakers are trying to convince San Antonio that he'll pan out to be worth it in a Leonard deal. So don't expect Lonzo to be a Laker by 2020. Now, number 5, Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle will be suited in a different uniform within the next 7 days, guaranteed. He said he wants to be renounced from his deal. The Lakers do not want to pay him. Perfect time for him. He's currently a restricted free agent. The Lakers are definitely not going to pay him. I don't think he's going to be going to Dallas because they've got their big in DeAndre Jordan. So, teams currently looking for bigs, look for Milwaukee, look for New Orleans, look for Washington, and look for OKC to make plays for Julius Randle. Those 4 teams, they're your picks. A bit more on Julius Randle, now that I'm here. I just want to say, I think Julius has clearly been the black sheep of the young core since his first game. He got set back by the broken leg. He's never really quite been considered as the franchise player. He's got believers, he's got doubters. I'm personally a believer in Julius Randle. I think he's currently the best player on the Lakers outside of LeBron. He's got a great bully ball style. He's a bit similar to DeMarcus Cousins. He's not much of a shooter as DeMarcus Cousins, though, but he's shown willingness to take shots and willingness to improve on his jump shots compared to his first season. So that's always a plus. He's a great rebounder, and he can definitely score when he's hot. He can definitely get into the paint. I think a breath of fresh air and new threads will be a great motivator for Julius Randle. Fantasy owners, expect Julius Randle to be a higher fantasy pick this year. I could see him very well as a 20-10 guy on a decent team like Milwaukee or OKC. He'd instantly be a starter in OKC and it'd make them a really good team. I personally feel a bit sorry for Julius. I feel like he's been mistreated and he's really become forgotten in the big baller hype, in the rise of Kuzma and the free agent movements. I think the Lakers need a free Randle. I think he needs to go somewhere, kind of toot his own horn a little bit and really let it fly. So that's that bit on Julius Randle. Just the final bit, just to kind of close out here. What does LeBron's movement mean for the NBA? This is the most important part of the LeBron free agency decision. The Lakers was a really big move. You've got the best player in the league moving west from east. The east is horrific compared to the west now. This is really, really significant. Let's cover some facts about this next season. You're going to want to pay attention to this. This is the most important part of the show. Number 1, the Lakers are going to be in the playoffs again. They're going to knock out a team like Denver, who is competing for a spot, or the Spurs, who might deal Leonard, or a weakened team like the Jazz, who may lose a nice couple pieces like Derek Favors. Maybe Derek Favors got picked up. I can't remember. Number 2, barring a huge trade or a huge signing, the Lakers are not going to make the Western Conference Finals, as they're not going to win enough regular season games to get a good playoff seeding, which means they'll face Golden State, Houston, Minnesota, OKC in the first or second round, and they will lose. LeBron's decision to go to LA confirms to me that he does not want to be a 35-10-8 guy for the playoffs for his team again. It's understandable considering he's 33 going on 34 by December. Look for LeBron this season to play more off-ball. And, last fact, look for the Lakers to win 45 to 50 games and vie for anywhere from the 6th to the 3rd seed in the West this year. They'll definitely bet out the Kings, the Mavericks, the Suns, the Spurs, the Clippers, and the Grizzlies. They will definitely be beaten out by the Rockets, the Warriors, and the Timberwolves. That 6-3 spot is going to be up in contention between the Trailblazers, the Thunder, the Pelicans, the Nuggets, and the Jazz. The West's going to be really, really tough this year. Those 5 aforementioned teams plus the Lakers could finish like last season, all between 45 and 48 games. It's unlikely, but it's definitely possible. At this point, it's just a matter of speculation and opinion about who's going to come out on top out of those teams. Now, the fun part, let's get into some predictions. I predict the Cavs are going to miss the playoffs. Kevin Love's not going to take that roster anywhere, and people will realize how god-awful that Cavs team is outside of Kevin Love and LeBron. Expect the Cavs to be a bottom 5 seed once again, as they should be. Don't be surprised to see Kevin Love in a different set of threads before October. Prediction number 2. The Celtics will control the East for years. Kyrie and Hayward will run rings around the competition. They'll win 60-plus games next year. They'll cruise to the finals, and they'll lose to the Warriors. Kyrie's 22, 25 point per game scorer. He's got to get some MVP votes. The only competition for the Celtics is going to be one team, being the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are going to combat with the Celtics for many, many years, accruing a massive second seed placements and trips to the Eastern Conference Finals. Joel Embiid's going to be getting some MVP notes next year. Next prediction. Nobody's going to care about the Raptors again, and they will eventually crumble into mediocrity. Next prediction. The East is going to be historically weaker than the West for the next 3 or so years before the Giants of the West begin to fade. LeBron, Durant, and Curry, Kawhi, they're not going to snatch the top 4 placements in the league after the next 3 years. Players like Giannis, Embiid, and Simmons are going to begin to even out the imbalance between East and West. Now, in terms of predictions for LeBron's impact on his own legacy, this is a tough one. This move, we're not really going to be able to tell exactly what LeBron's intentions were with this move until we're kind of looking back on it with a bit of revisionist history. So all of this, a lot of it's speculation. I don't know any of this is going to happen. But if I were a betting man, here's what I think is going to happen. Number 1, LeBron's not going to win another MVP trophy. He's 33. His team is not bound for a good finish in the Western Conference compared to a player like James Harden, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, whose teams are going to be top 1-2 finishers. It's going to be really tough for LeBron to win another MVP. Maybe that voter fatigue will kind of start to fade away as LeBron suits up in a new uniform, but don't put money on it. I don't think LeBron's going to win the championship next year. I think LeBron's going to struggle to win any more championships. I personally believe that LeBron is done winning rings as the number 1 option. Maybe in his twilight years he'll pull a David West. I don't really see that as likely. I think LeBron's done as a number 1 option on a championship team. Unless he can get... Man, I don't know. He's so good, but it's like... The West is so tough. The Lakers have not gotten anybody in this offseason so far. It's going to be really difficult. In terms of LeBron's future with the Lakers, I don't really think he's going to go past 4 years with them. After his 4th year, he might just get another 1 deal with them, or just with some other random team. But I expect any deal after that to be with a team that drafts Bronny. Oh, look at that. We're already closing out. Thus, the greatest power shift from East to West in history is complete. The best player in the league has departed his adored Cleveland Cavaliers for a new, unmarked journey in the bloody Western Conference. LeBron will forever be compared to Laker greats, the Magics, the Kobes, the Kareems, the Shaqs, and he's better than all of them. The league will never be the same. The league is forever shooketh. Suck my dick, Philadelphia didn't get the king. Suck my ass, Philadelphia. Fuck the process. Also, I was right about Paul George going to OKC, and I was right about Chris Paul going back to the Rockets. I'm just going to say that. Holy shit, LeBron's a Laker. What a world we live in. What a fucking world we live in. Bit of a shorter episode today. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe to the Trash Talk podcast. Give us a listen. YouTube, SoundCloud, might be up on iTunes soon. I don't know. I don't really like Apple, but we'll see how it goes. With any luck, we could be getting episodes up on iTunes soon. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you in episode 4. Bit of action, restricted free agents. We'll see how that goes. Have a good one.